Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my older sister I will never accept her or her life choices? And guys, this story is about a 16-year-old girl. 16! And long story short, she finds out through rumors and all sorts of nasty stuff that in her high school, that her 29-year-old older sister, it does adult content. And you can imagine all that's on the websites and probably OnlyFans and all that. And sadly, which is not this girl's fault, rumor starts going around the school. People start finding examples of that girl's work, etc., etc. And it's making this young gal's life a living hell. She's gotten up all social media, which must be a killer for a 16-year-old because of harassment and all that. And yet, nobody cares. The older sister doesn't care, her mother doesn't care, and it causes all this turmoil in her life. However, it leads to a big falling out where she's pretty much told her sister to F off and her mother to F off because her mother's taking the side of the older sister, not her. And now her dad is also thinking about divorcing the mother because that's how much of an a-hole she is. I mean, it's nuts. And this story is a good example, and it's unfortunate, but a good example of how people that get in this line of work never think about anybody but themselves, how it affects family members and maybe your siblings, your kids. And I've done a lot of stories like this, and the ripple effect, like these kids that go to school and they find out their mom's on OnlyFans, and of course it gets out, and these kids have to change schools, and it's just a big mess. But these people are these women that do this, and who often usually have good careers anyway, it's about the stardom and the fame. They don't care who it hurts. And also there's times in life where just people cross you, don't care, you kick them to the curb. And that's what's going on here with her and her dad, and it's a good one. She says, I'm grounded with no phone, so I'm using an old phone with 20% battery, so this has to be rushed, so excuse the grammar. I'm 16, and I have a half-sister who's 29 from my mother's first marriage, and we had a good relationship given the age difference. A few months ago, it came out that she was an adult actress, and her biological dad disowned her, which made my mom super protective, and she made her out to be this brave, amazing woman. Oh, for goodness sake, stunning and brave, that's the line. You're doing PURN, you're stunning and brave and empowered. No, you're not. Her own dad disowned her. Good for him. You have to be harsh, you have to be tough, otherwise this type of bullshit goes on. I didn't say anything even when they had the casual conversation about her work at the dinner table. Someone from my school found out about a week ago, and her videos have been sent around. Can you imagine that? You're in high school when it's hard enough to be a teenager. It was hard when I was a teenager, but let alone now with social media and the cyberbullying and things we spread on social media, online, all that is terrible. And a 16-year-old girl with her emotions and hormones all over the place? Come on. The only thing that stands for me is summer break, and it's already started, so at least I can hide somewhat from what everything is going on. And praying another scandal happens before September. Well, there always is another scandal, but this is a pretty big one here. Such and such older sister is on, and they're automatically going to think that she does it, and it's going to reflect on her, unfortunately. I'm not going into details of what's been happening, but I've lost friends and was forced to delete all social media. I've been staying in my room mostly and not been able to even look at my sister. She didn't even know until tonight. So she isn't just being made fun of and harassed, she's also losing friends over this. Maybe her parents found out and they didn't want them associating with her. Again, this is not her fault. And do you think her mother or sister care at all? No. But one of my remaining friends' mom reached out to my mom asking about everything. I know what she said, but I heard yelling from my mom, and she demanded me down to the living room and called my sister and my dad for a family meeting. Yeah, her mom sounds like a fun person. Long story short, my mom was angry at me for not defending my sister, and she wants me to reopen TikTok account to make a public message defending her and name-shaming basically most of my school. I know this will make things worse, so I told her no. Let me get this straight. This crazy mother wants her 16-year-old underage daughter to go on TikTok and say, I support and promote my sister's lifestyle doing adult entertainment and all that. Are you kidding me? And it's going to make it far worse. But the mother doesn't care about this girl here. Clearly the older sister. Clearly mom, there's a lot more in common with the older sister here. And I'm sure, it doesn't get out unfortunately, but I'm sure mommy dearest here has had quite her adventures, if you will. My sister was quite upset, so she asked me if I was ashamed of her and demanded me to explain why I couldn't support her. I'm allowed to have my choices and preferences here, and look what your work has done to my life. I was so angry at this stage, I screamed this was all her fault, and that I'll never support her or her life choices, and I wish she wasn't my sister, because my life's been hell, yet she has the nerve to play victim. Well, of course she's playing victim. That's how it works. Now, she's 16, going through a lot of hell, and 16-year-olds, I've seen teenage girls, I have a sister, and, they get riled up and yell and scream and say a lot of things they don't mean, but in this situation, you can understand, and it's warranted, at least in my opinion. It got really heated to the point that my dad walked me into my room and told me to stay here. Mom came in later and took my phone and told me to pack my stuff, that I'll be staying with my aunt, my dad's sister, for the foreseeable future because she can't stand to be around me right now. She's getting kicked out of her own house because she's not supporting her older sister's lifestyle. It's caused almost turmoil into her life, and she's been kicked out. And she was forced downstairs against her will because she's 16. She's got to listen to her mom, and cornered and being forced under duress to support her sister. I mean, who is this mother? Says here, I can hear them in my sister's room right now, and she's crying, and mom is comforting her. Her sister's a fucking drama queen. God. Now she a little update here. She says, hi guys, well this post blew up overnight and I have a mini update for everyone, but first I want to clear some things up to keep getting said in the comments. Number one, there's a few people in the comments saying, well, who did you tell? Or you must have shown people that's how they found out. She says, I don't know how anyone found out, or maybe they were watching movies and recognized her as we live in a small town where everybody knows everybody's business. I'll probably never find out, but I'm sure as shit didn't go around showing videos of my sister anymore thinking it lacks common sense. This girl, I like her because she's very mature for her age. She's more of an adult than her mom and sister. Yeah, they're in a small town. That's the key. Small town, guess what? I came from a small town community. People talk. There's nothing else to do. Number two, for those of you saying it's none of my business and she can do whatever she wants, yes, she can do what she wants, but I'm being bullied and harassed over it, so it is my business because it's affecting me. Right. If she was doing something that absolutely nobody knew about, and it was legal, and she wasn't hurting anybody, fine, so be it. I don't have to approve of it, but when she's doing these things online, and you can't put anything online because it's always going to be there and people are going to find out, it has you have to accept responsibility for, it's not just you. It's your parents, it's your kids, it's your sister, right here. 3, I know people mean well telling me I should get my school involved, but we are on summer break, so it's been happening out of school, and there's so many involved that it will only be worse than me. Number 4, some people kept saying I'm leaving out stuff. What more do you actually want to know? But the only thing I left out was the details of the bullying for privacy reasons. She says, so here's the miniature update. My dad came into my room last night to give me my phone back, and we ended up talking about everything. I reopened my socials to show him what I've been dealing with and told him what my mother said and he got super angry about. My parents have been fighting nonstop since 6 o'clock in the morning, which is scary because I never heard my dad yell before. Yeah, probably your mother never heard it too, but she's hearing it now. Basically told my mom that if anyone is leaving, it's going to be her and her daughter prematurely, and we ended up leaving because he's sick of her ruining everybody's relationship and lies over my sister's career. I think I heard him say that he got some shit at work too, but I did clearly hear him say that he wants a divorce, and I don't know if it was the heat of the moment or if he's serious too. Hey, now it's messing with his work. His coworkers look, oh, that's your stepdaughter, huh? Yeah, again, now it's affecting his life here. And the mother, only person the mother cares about is the older sister. He doesn't marry to her. The younger daughter, 16, doesn't marry to her. I'm sure the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. My sister came in the room telling me this is all my fault, and I'm a disgusting person with internalized misogyny. Notice whenever a woman who's doing some dumb things is people don't agree with her or criticize her, then automatically they're labeled nasty things like misogyny. They can't come up with a good argument or retort, so they got to throw insults your way. Now they're labeling a 16-year-old girl a misogynist, really? And she said I should have come to her and she would have helped me deal with it by some stupid comebacks that I've seen people also mention in the comments. I told us it was all her fault because everything leads back to her, and unlike our mom, I'm not going to enable her or lie to her about the reality of the situation, and what I'm going through is her fault, and I'll probably have to move schools. Yeah, I guarantee this girl's going to have to change schools, but the problem is that it'll get out because somebody at some school knows somebody, some connection, so they're really, until she graduates high school, and even then. Says here, she told me she'll talk to me when I'm mature enough to have an adult conversation and lived in the real world. The real world was this older sister of hers, living on the street, and the only way she could survive is to get into that line of work. Something tells me she probably was raised in a normal household, was provided for, given money for education, and could have done anything else but chose to get into this because she loved the attention, easy money, whatever. A newsflash, she's 29. Her career in that line of work is going to be over very, very soon. And future employers aren't going to want somebody that does that unless they are benefiting from other said benefits. I told her when I leave this house, I will never speak to her or mother again. She left the room in a huff, and I heard her downstairs screaming at my dad. That guy's in a hen house. A lot of screaming going on. I locked the door and blasted my music so I couldn't hear anymore, and I dare not open it when my mother demanded to speak to me. As of now, my mother and sister are out of the house, and my parents agreed that me and my dad will go to my aunt's for a week so everybody can cool down. My dad said to me he might just look for a permanent place up there for us, but again, he's angry, so who knows. I don't know. My gut's telling me that Dad is going to be looking for an exit strategy at this point. I might update in a few weeks if something happens, but I do know my relationship with my sister and mother, especially my mother, will never be okay again. Well, you know what? You got your dad, and hopefully things work out, but this isn't going away. She's going to have to change schools, which means she'll probably have to live near her aunt's house. But again, this is a shame. This is the type of bullshit that happens to people. I did a whole series, like a 5-part series, a year and a half ago on the other channel, Strong Successful Male, which you should all join if you haven't already, about a grandfather who was writing in for help because his grandchildren were being impacted because their mother, who was a teacher, I might add, was doing OnlyFans, and it got out. And all those kids were being harassed at school, and they had to change schools, and she did this behind her husband's back, and it was just this big mess, and he was doing everything he could to stay strong for the family. And of course, his daughter, who was the teacher doing this, had no remorse who was hurting. It was all about her and the attention and all that. It just, people don't care, people don't think too far ahead, or care to think too far ahead. Now some comments here before I wrap this up. One guy says here, I generally can't understand all the "you're the a-hole" votes. You got pulled into something and you didn't even lash out about it until your mom decided to make an issue with you. Your mom is the a-hole here, and her sending you away because you won't publicly defend an adult in a controversial lifestyle is insane. Maybe you were wrong to lash out, but you are a teen who was backed into a corner by a bunch of adults who has some maturing to do. You're darn right. The mother's the a-hole, and the sister. Another guy says you're not the a-hole, since you are paying for her choices. Though it's crazy how this happened. How are you losing friends over this? You aren't the one doing PORN. I will say if you lost people because of this, they weren't really your friends. You aren't obligated to support her, so they shouldn't have tried to force you. She's probably losing friends because, like, the rumors and people making fun of her, and oftentimes at that age, nobody wants to be associated with one being made fun of. Maybe some families. Maybe it's a very conservative small town, so maybe the kids got pressure from their parents not to hang out with her. I don't know. And last one says, you're not the a-hole. When people decide to get naked on camera for a living, they are making a choice that can be very damaging for all their family members, especially the younger ones. Choices have consequences. Yeah, well, nobody thinks about that anymore. You cannot expect family members to be supportive of degenerate behavior that negatively affects them just because they are family. Right. So the odds are that relationship with that older sister and mother are gone. Thing is, she's 16, so still by law, the mother can pull some bullshit probably if they split up to get her to live with her. But then again, she's 16, she could probably say to a judge, I don't want to live with my mom or be around my older sister because of this, and look what it's done, and the dad would get her. I would hope that would happen if they do part ways. But nevertheless, lesson here, this is the effect this has on people, so a lot to learn here. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. Let me know, guys, in the comments section. Do you know anybody that's had been impacted by somebody that did this type of stuff online? I'd like to hear about it. There's got to be somebody out there that has a story. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.